let the Saints drive down the field for a game-winning field goal. The Panthers' defense is just not where it needs to be. And I'm not hating if I say that. Look at the tape. Like Ron Jaworski says, turn on the tape, look at the tape, and it will show you that the Panthers' defense is lacking at best. They're not good right now. They need to look themselves in the mirror and ask themselves this: do we want to be bad or do we want to be great? Now, I have to think that they want to be great because last season they had a great season. I don't know what happened in those summer months leading up to the season where everything changed. They lost one player in Josh Norman. Did that one player make that big of a difference on the defense? I mean, right now, Josh Norman is in Washington having a pretty good start to his 2016 season, while the Panthers secondary is struggling. So the Panthers are 1-5. The defense is a major reason why the Panthers are having a lackluster season so far. Now, we're going to take a commercial break. I'm going to get into why the offense has been struggling this season, because it's not just on the defense. It's not on Sean McDermott and the defense, man, to why the Panthers are struggling this season. I'm going to get into that after this commercial break on the All Things Sport podcast.
What up, this is Pierre Banks, and when I'm back in Boone watching the Mountaineers, my first stop is always Mountaineer Mania. The good folks at Mountaineer Mania have the widest selection of app gear, so you can cheer on the Mountaineers in style. T-shirts, hats, hoodies, sweatshirts, decals, cornhole sets. I mean, if you need it, they've got it. So head on down to Mountaineer Mania at 497 West King Street in Boone and tell them I sent you.
Welcome back to the All Things Sport podcast. I'm your host, Damian Banks, and this portion of the All Things Sport podcast is brought to you by Triangle Entertainment Worldwide, home of TMG, CC Mag Agency, Bullseye Network, and We Are One Innovation. For more information, go to teworldwide.com or call 704-774-6212. That's the CEO, Gerald Robinson. Tell him Sports by Damian sent you. Now, before the break, we were talking about why the Carolina Panthers are pretty much god-awful right now. They sit at 1-5 on this NFL season. Now, again, last year I was telling you Carolina Panthers fans, hey, man, y'all are having a great season. Y'all are having a hell of a season. Enjoy it. Because in the world of sport, in the NFL particularly, it could all change in an instant. And it all changed this season. Because right now, the Panthers pretty much suck. But they can turn it around. But I'm not here to talk about how the Panthers can turn it around. I'm trying to give you my perspective on why I think the Panthers are having a lackluster season so far. Now, before the break, I put some of the blame on the defensive side of the ball. Now, the defense, they're not playing particularly well right now. That starts with the defensive line, to the linebackers, to the secondary, falls on the defensive coordinator, Sean McDermott. And some of the blame also goes to the GM, Dave Gettleman, as well as the head coach, Ron Rivera. Now I'm going to talk about why I think the offense is not playing well. Again, I play football. Most of you play football who listen to the podcast. I played football all the way up until college at Virginia State University. Again, shout out to Big Blue. Shameless plug, man. Now, if you play football, you know, if you control the line of scrimmage, you control the game. Now, I spoke on the last segment of the defensive line not being able to control the line of scrimmage. So you know the offensive line for the Carolina Panthers, they're not doing their jobs either. They are not controlling the line of scrimmage this season. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Michael Orr, you, Andrew Norrell, you, Ryan Khalil, you, Trey Turner, and you, Mike Remmers. What are you guys doing this season, man? Cam Newton, the quarterback, last year's MVP, is running for his life. You guys are going to get Cam Newton killed. He's not dabbing anymore. He's not dancing. Cam's not having fun, man. The offensive line is getting pushed around. The pocket is collapsing on the reg. If you know what the reg mean, it means regular. The offensive line for the Carolina Panthers are getting pushed around on the reg The line, they're being collapsed on the reg. The Panthers can't run the ball like they ran the ball last season. If you run the ball, you control the clock. You control the line of scrimmage. You control the game. You can do play action. You can do deep passes, short to intermediate passes. The Panthers can't control the line of scrimmage, and they're not being able to control the game. Now, Dave Gettleman, this falls on you again, the GM. You knew that the Panthers needed to upgrade on the offensive line. You didn't make any adjustments in the offseason. You still have Mike Remmers playing tackle. You still have Michael Orr playing tackle. Now, they're serviceable players, but against the likes of a Von Miller or a J.J. Watt or whoever is a all-pro or Pro Bowl defensive line, they can't hold their own. They're getting beat constantly. They're holding constantly. They're getting false starts on the reg. What is going on with the offensive line? Now, ultimately, the players have to play, and I understand that because I was a player. But the GM puts those players on the team. Now, Dave Gettleman, you knew that you needed to upgrade on the offensive line, but you're cheap. You don't want to spend any money. You didn't spend any money on any offensive linemen in the offseason. And right now, your offense as a whole is paying the price. Now, last season, you had the same offensive line, but they played pretty well. But guess what? That was last season. This is this season. They're not playing good right now. Look yourselves in the mirror, Carolina Panthers offensive linemen. Ask yourselves, do you want to be great or do you want to suck? Because right now, you suck. Now, I'm not going to place all the blame on the offensive line. Some of the blame has to go to Cam Newton. He is the quarterback of the team, and he is the face of the franchise. Excuse me, had to take a sip of water. I'm spewing so much venom that my mouth got a little dry. I was a little verklempt, so I had to drink some water, but I digress. Now, Cam Newton, you had a great season last year. MVP season. You dabbed all year long. You even had politicians dabbing. You had grandmothers dabbing. Dabbing is done. Cam Newton, you're not having fun right now, man. You're running for your life. You've even gotten a concussion this season. Missed a game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Cam, you have time to turn it around. You have some weaponry on the offensive side of the ball. Your wide receivers are pretty good. You got Kelvin Benjamin this season back from a torn ACL. He missed all of last season. Devin Funchess in his second year at the wideout position. He's making improvements. You got the steady and reliable Greg Olsen, Pro Bowl level tight end. And, you got ancillary parts in Ted Ginn Jr. You got Philly Brown. So you got a pretty good receiving core. But it seems like those receivers aren't doing the job right now. Now, some of that blame, again, lays on the feet of the offensive line. If the offensive line doesn't give Cam Newton time to survey the field, then he can't find the wide open wide receivers. Now, Kelvin Benjamin, he went a game this year. Can't remember the exact game. I think it was the second game of the year against Minnesota. Maybe? Or was it the third game of the year against Minnesota? Because the Panthers beat my 49ers in the second game of the season, if I'm not mistaken. But I digress. Kelvin Benjamin was not targeted once. Didn't catch a pass. This guy's 6'5", 240 pounds. He's a mismatch waiting to happen. You gotta throw him the ball, man. Like Randy Moss said, throw me the damn ball. You have to throw Kelvin Benjamin the ball. And you would think that Cam Newton would find him, but he didn't. Greg Olsen is undoubtedly Cam Newton's favorite target. He leads the team in receptions and reception yardage. But you got to find other targets, man. Greg Olsen, he's not the only person on the team that can catch passes. Now, going to the running game. The running game is predicated on how well the offensive line is playing. Right now, the offensive line for the Carolina Panthers, I've said it a couple times already, they're not playing very well. And you got a running back in Jonathan Stewart who, historically, he can't stay on the field. He can't stay healthy. And a huge ability in the NFL is availability. And Jonathan Stewart is hurt quite often. So your backup running back is Fozzie Whitaker. He's a pretty good backup running back, but you need Jonathan Stewart to stay healthy. He's the pounder. He's the grinder. He wears down opposing defenses. So in the fourth quarter, they're tired. They can run the ball easily, play action, look for Greg Olsen, look for Kelvin Benjamin. But if the Carolina Panthers can't run the ball, then they can't set up those play action passes later on in the game. So Jonathan Stewart, he's not healthy. He can't stay on the field. The Panthers can't run the ball. They don't control the line of scrimmage, and they can't control the game. It's all about control, ladies and gentlemen. If you control the line of scrimmage, you can control the game. Now, the Panthers, they're 1-5 for a reason. They haven't been getting blown out. It's not like they've been going out losing, 24-3 or 35-10. They've been in competitive games. The only game where I feel like they were dominated was against the Minnesota Vikings. And at the time, you didn't know that the Vikings were as good as they are at this moment. But the Vikings are a pretty darn good football team this season. So I'm going to take that game aside. The Panthers have played close games, starting with their season opener on Thursday night, Super Bowl rematch with the Denver Broncos. That game went down to the wire. Graham Gano missed a makeable field goal, in the waning seconds of that game, which would have gave the Panthers a win. Who knows? If Graham Gano makes that kick, the Panthers start the season 1-0. They're feeling good about themselves, and it's a snowball effect, much like last season. Because the Panthers started 4-0 last year, and they got that winning feeling, and they didn't know how to lose. They didn't want to lose, so they rattled off 14 wins in a row. Again, Krispy Kreme discounts for all Carolina Panthers fans. You guys got fat last season. Why I starved as a San Francisco 49ers fan. But this season, you have to pay full price for Krispy Kreme donuts because right now the Panthers are not a very good football team. Now, it's early in the season. They're 1-5 right now. They can turn it around, but they have some soul searching to do. They have a lot of adjustments to make, both offensively and defensively. Offensively, everyone has to play better. Starts at Cam Newton. Cam right now has 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's not getting it done, Cam. I love you, man. I loved you at Auburn. I loved you when you went number 1 overall. I loved you when the critics said that you couldn't play from the pocket. I loved you when critics said that you were immature. I still love you. But you're not playing very well right now. You have time to turn it around. You're not playing horribly. You got an 81.2 passer rating right now. That's not bad, but it's not great. You have the potential to be great. You have the potential, Cam Newton, to be an all-time great quarterback. Right now, you're not getting it done. Jonathan Stewart, you stay hurt too much, man. You need to do something. You need to change your diet. You need to drink more water. You need to eat more vegetables, eat more fruit. You need to do something because you can't stay on the field. You're not available. The best ability is availability. And right now, Jonathan Stewart, you're in the training room way too much. Greg Olsen, you're playing pretty well. Not too much I can say about you. Kelvin Benjamin, step your game up. Devin Funchess, step your game up. Philly Brown, step your game up. Ted Ginn Jr., catch the ball, man. Stop dropping passes. Step your game up. Offensive line. I'm going to rattle off the offensive line names again, man, because Michael Orr, Andrew Noel, Ryan Khalil, Trey Turner, Mike Remmers. Fix your face. Step your game up. Panthers offensive line, get right, man. Do something. Defensive side of the ball. Sean McDermott, get your players right, man. The secondary, I don't know if it's anything that the Panthers can do about their secondary right now. They're young, inexperienced at the cornerback position. Their safeties, Trey Boston, I think this is his first year starting. He's learning on the job. Kurt Coleman is a veteran. He's pretty good at one of the other safety positions, but he is getting beat on the reg. And if you don't know what the reg mean, it means on the regular. The secondary is not very good right now for the Carolina Panthers. The linebacking core, Thomas Davis, Luke Kuechly, Shaq Thompson,